What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, we're going to talk about putting out everyday fires, because that's part of life and entrepreneurship, Fosco. We got a new setup. If you can't see us, we're let's say
we're
facing each other, Jalen and Jacoby style, one of my favorite ESPN shows.
Don't know much about it, but I've heard it's good.
And there's a sweet potato on the table that John,
don't ask why.
John grocery shops now, which is an amazing experience
At certain times.
And we've got our phones propped up on it. So
Yes.
not sure what's happening
It's
today,
actually
John.
a good tool. It's a good tool.
Fat boy sweet potato.
Yeah.
So John, I mean, great setup. We're in Charleston hanging out with you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
I am too. And just this setup, for people who can't see it, we normally sit in like a half circle.
Yeah.
And-
Mo's on vacation still.
Right. Mo's on vacation. But maybe he's here right now. But anyways, so we sit in a half circle. When you sit in a half circle, you don't necessarily feel like you're talking directly to someone because everyone's kind of angled outward. So me and Cory are sitting directly towards each other, and I think it's probably going to incite some just more interaction in our segments, which could be interesting.
Yeah, real interesting. Today's brought to you by Honeybook, John.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Honeybook is a real cool partner because I remember the days when I was brand new to business and I didn't know where to go to develop a simple advertising PDF or how to send out a proposal or how to get an invoice right.
Yeah.
You know, and Honeybook is like a starter kit for businesses. And it's a very reasonable fee. I know we have an offer for our listeners.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you go to honeybook.com right now, use the promo code BICEPS, they're giving you 50% off your first year. I mean, just to let you guys know, 75,000 photographers, designers, professionals, personal trainers, entrepreneurs use this, and you just look straight talk wireless, way sweeter, way faster business-wise when you have a tool like Honeybook. So go to honeybook.com and use the promo code BICEPS today.
Do it, please.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, because Mo's on vacation, I get to intro Fosco's World. So cue the music. Coming to the stage.
I hear it.
He's 7'5" because he looked jacked in the gym today
Oh, every day.
at 218 pounds,
7'5",
which is really skinny at 7'5",
dude.
which is
What am I, Manute
which is
Bull?
so amazing.
The white version?
So white Manute Bowl with a great jump shot.
Purple.
So good. From Lombard, Illinois, John Fosco.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Listen, I want to get into this, and I want to get into it quick. I was thinking about it this morning. I was thinking about it last night, and we touch on it here and there. But I want to dig into what I really think is like the human curse that lives in all of us, that may never go away. But I think the people who figure out how to not only temper this, but how inappropriate this is, are the ones that can get ahead quicker. And what I have in my notes is that judgment of others is like literally the human curse, right? I mean, we can go back to the Bible and it's thou shalt not judge.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, whether I'm looking at Jeremy, Trey, yourself, anybody, nothing that can be measured, right, makes me better than them. Nothing that I wear, the way I speak, the way I interact, nothing makes me better than them. If I am more successful, that doesn't make me better than them. Nor does that give me the right to pick out things about them and say, oh, look at that. You know, it's like this place we get to in life where we might be higher up in the food chain than others, and we lose kind of that feeling we had when we started, when we were looking up to everybody and we were victims sometimes of judgment,
Sure.
right? And we all know what that feels like. And it will, no matter who it comes from, whether it came from Steve Jobs or your foreman on the job site, it's not right.
No.
And all it does is break people down. And before I hand it off to you, it's like, if you think about judging people and judging people in the workplace, you're almost eliminating their potential before you give them the chance to show what they got, because you're putting them in a box. When you're their boss, when you're their leader and you're judging them, that makes people feel small. When people feel small, they don't act bold. When they don't act bold, ideas don't come. When ideas don't come, value isn't presented.
Yeah, I think judgment's an interesting thing because would you say it's almost like just a natural reaction for most? It's automatic.
It's so natural. And I think that if you don't have anybody to tell you, hey, motherfucker, who are you?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if you're worth $10 million. Like, fuck you. The dude on the fucking street, I don't care if he's a bum. You got no right, man.
Yeah, agreed. So I think it's interesting because, and I know you've experienced this a ton, we get judged like crazy, right? With the
elevator yesterday.
Dude, so bad. And so we get judged like crazy for multiple reasons, especially with what level of success we've ascended to, which obviously there's people that are way higher, but just even being in the ballpark with the way we operate, we get judged like crazy. So I think that feeling that, excuse me, I just cracked. That was amazing. Feeling that way has made me less judgmental about others, I think, because the way I felt really my entire career. It was like the dumb jock guy that does business, and now I have tattoos on both forearms, and I don't really give a fuck when I'm out in public, and so I think it's like, it's made me less judgmental. It doesn't mean that it doesn't enter my brain naturally, because I think it literally is a natural reaction to jump to a conclusion. That dude probably thinks he's better than me because he's all dressed up. Well, maybe he just has to dress up for his job. He doesn't think he's better than me. Maybe. Now, we've seen where they do. There is that category of people that do think that. So I think it's like I have it enters my mind. I try to wash it out quick. But it's bad for a lot of people, man, and I think it just hinders your own success to such a level. I mean,
and
is that how you feel? Does it hit you like that too, Johnny, or no?
It hits me like that. It hits me quickly, and I got to catch it. But
I wonder why. It's so natural.
That's kind of where I'm going.
Okay, good.
I think the root of judgment ultimately is pure insecurity.
Yeah, it has to be.
We all have insecure feelings. Some of us obviously more than others. But if you feel the need to cut another person down based on looks, based on an accent, based on religion, all you're saying, it's not about them. It's about you.
For sure.
And it shows how undeveloped you are. And we talk about this stuff, and I want to talk about this stuff because this isn't roasting people who judge, because we're all guilty of it. This is bringing it to your consciousness so you're like, whoa, dude, yesterday, man, when I was walking down the street or at the gym or at the store, like I was like thinking about how stupid that dude's pants were. like, bro, your pants are stupid.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Someone can turn it on you anytime. But ultimately, when you sit back, the question is, who the fuck are you? Who do you think you are to cast judgment? It's like saying without saying, I'm better than you.
Yeah. I've always felt like I've been on defense for this so often for so many years. I think you felt the same way. You're one of the most misunderstood guys I've ever met, and your appearance is for some reason threatening to people, right? Yep. And so you're constantly misunderstood. I've always stuck out, and for the last 20 years too. So it's like that doesn't really occupy a lot in my mind because I know how it feels to be that person.
Right.
But I think that it's probably not something people consciously, they just do it and they just think that's part of their day. But you got to understand that those feelings, and if you put time into them, man, they're like a cancer in a way to your brain activity. I think it's a great point to bring up, John. And I think it's like being conscious of your brain waves like this is so key for success. Dude. Because if that occupies your mind at any type of level, it's just fucking up what you're about.
Right.
And you're not working on what your insecurity is and why you care anyway.
There's nothing pure about it. And I think on the back side of it, it's driven, as someone who's been judged a lot throughout the course of my life, it's driven by fear.
Has to be.
100%. So if you're not if you see somebody who's acting a certain way, looks a certain way, who's talking a certain way, and they make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're going to walk up to them and confront them, you're probably going to want to judge them and be like, who would fucking look like that? Who would have a fucking stupid tattoo on his hand?
Yeah.
Who would fucking walk around with a fucking backwards hat that owns a fucking business?
Yeah.
Right? Like who would do that? Well, who are you? It just comes back to self-awareness and this feeling like, okay, I'm afraid, I'm insecure, but are you identifying that when you're showcasing that behavior?
Yeah. Yeah, man, I feel like I was getting judged a lot this morning in the gym. Probably.
Well, you were.
It had to be, right? We had, just to give you guys some context, I'm traveling to see John, and we were at a gym that actually has a lot of good stuff in it and kind of a grimy feel to it, but the atmosphere doesn't feel grimy. Everybody got their headphones in. It's really not something I'm used to at all because of my environment. And to me, it's like I try to tone it down a little bit than old school or West Side or whatever. But at the end of the day, I was trying to do my best job I could do of what I was after. And yeah, it just felt like the eyes was all on me, even though I wasn't. I didn't really care too much
because what you're doing is different.
Yeah, than everyone else.
Different scares people.
Yeah,
and ultimately, they're going to cast judgment. And this is my whole point. So I guess in closing,
and you were on the other side of the gym, so you probably could see it more than I could.
just like you said it yesterday. You're like, man, there's some motherfuckers who are just hating.
Oh, dude, everywhere. So good.
But guys, that's life. So we shouldn't go around if we do get judged and feel sorry for ourselves. No, it's just know that if that happens to you, it ain't personal. That dude or that female who's judging you, they're weak. They're weak. And what I want, and I think what we want for our listeners, is not to be weak.
Yeah.
And you got to work on this stuff daily.
Absolutely.
So,
good work, John.
That stuff's important to me, and it helps you in your personal life immensely, and in business huge, because you can't lead people if you're judging them. So that is that, and let's make our way to Cory Gregory time.
Thank you, Fosco.
Yep.
So actually, my segment is going to be about something that happened to me in the gym this morning, based off what we just talked about. So like I talked about a little bit at the end of your segment, I'm not used to having headphones in at the gym. My environment at old school, the music just plays, but everyone else in a commercial gym has their headphones in. It's weird for me the opposite way, right? And so I'm getting ready for that big lift. I'm listening to my music and
Meek.
Yeah, I'm listening to my Meek Mill or something like that, of course. It's something that gets me fired up. And I take off my headphone and I'm kind of like singing and kind of dancing to I'm literally in my own world, right?
Yeah, I dance a lot.
So you do not dance on camera though.
We
need to make that happen.
I dance a lot.
All right. So here's where I'm getting to. Sorry, it's long-winded. I realized as I took my headphones off that I'm literally, this is what I feel like on a regular basis, is that and my mom has said this, my wife has said this, I'm sure you probably, like I literally feel like I'm in my own world. And in that moment, it became so clear to me, like that it's like, so obviously it's between your ears with what you do, everything, but I really did not care at all about what was happening around me other than what was in my headphones, what was on the bar. And I didn't care if I lifted and yelled or was dancing and somebody saw me, or I was singing a lyric and someone saw me, or you were standing there, he was I didn't give a fuck. And I realized that that's really probably more similar to how I feel a lot. And I don't know, for some reason in that moment, it became like really clear to me. I was like, I'm literally in my own world, like at the present time, like deep, and none of this stuff. And that's really probably what a lot of entrepreneurs feel like when they're on like a focused path. And for some reason, I think because it's an environment I'm never in. Literally, I work out in a commercial gym like less than 10 times a year, probably, if that. And so it felt so weird, but so good at the same regard. And it was really interesting to me. But that's the parallel I drew today, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great lesson to everybody, because you're in your own world, but ultimately you could call it being in your own world, or you call it being focused on what I believe you can only be focused on, which is one thing.
Yeah.
One thing at one time.
Yes.
And I think
ultimately,
exactly. If you're working on something at your job, in business, in school, the people who try to multitask and do all these things in like, let's say, a 30-minute time frame, they're fucking stupid, because everything is done mediocre, right?
Yeah.
Everything is poorly done. But when they're fucking zoned in and they're in their own world and they're working on one thing and they have a singular focus and they cut out everybody in everything, that's where they're going to get the most out of themselves. And they're going to get the most out of that process.
Which I was able to do this morning. From a physical standpoint, I beat my old lift by 35 pounds, which was awesome. And it comes back to, the interview I did with Tiger Woods just kind of replayed my mind. My first question when I sat up there stood with Tiger to ask him, I was so excited. Like, what is the thing that drives you when you wake up? And he said, win. One, but the second thing I asked him was, what about all those people that you see? Like you see these tournaments on TV and there's a fucking 100,000 people standing there. And his answer was, what people? Right. He said, dude, I don't even see him. And I was like, shut it down, Tiger. Like, oh shit. But he's like, dude, I literally I've trained my brain. I do not see. Now, when I'm walking in between holes and a little kid says, especially Tiger nowadays, but he's like, dude, I don't see anyone. And I was like, right, John? But that's how you have to be to make business happen too, bro, when you're on these projects.
That's how you have to be to make business happen. That's how you have to be effective in life. And that's how you have to be happy, because ultimately all that other stuff's noise.
Noise, bro.
It's all
static.
Noise. If you, like we talk about, man, if you don't know what you want, you're wandering aimlessly and you're going to be miserable. In that moment, using the Tiger Woods example, he knows what he wants. He wants to win.
Yes.
So if he wants to win, those people can't register.
At all.
Because if he's paying attention to the woman in the yellow shirt, the guy in the blue hat, what's he not paying attention to? Golf.
And it's so it's mind-boggling to think that there's that much going on and you're that tunnel visioned, right? It's like most people can't even, I can identify a little bit, but like it's impressive.
Cross-reference that with his results.
Exactly. The best.
They're very, from a golf standpoint,
yeah,
they're very similar to my results from a golf standpoint.
I mean, your golf is amazing.
Yeah, me and Tiger, I'd say back in the early 2000s, we were neck and neck.
Once again.
Before the Escalade incident he had. Then that's when I passed him.
I think that your YouTube channel, John Goes Golfing, John Goes Grocery Shopping, kind of like Debbie Does Dallas. I think
Debbie Does Dallas is a horribly cheesy 80s porno that I don't think anyone's ever seen, but everyone references.
They do, right, John? I've never seen it either. All right, so I think that I guess my point was, make sure when you're focused on something, don't be half-ass focused, mediocre level, John. Like, it takes that steely, fucking ultra tunnel vision, whatever you want to say. Like, think about in a picture when you see Tiger on TV, what's happening, and understand he doesn't see anyone. And that's kind of what I felt like in my own way this morning. And I feel like that a lot just in everyday life. People they're kind of scared of it. They don't understand it.
What's the other option? You wake up every day and you know what you have to do. So when you go to do it, What's the other fucking option?
I don't know.
Are you going to sit there and think about the text from your girlfriend when you're trying to focus on a task at hand?
Yeah. Come on.
With
man.
business? It's impossible. It's an impossibility to get everything out of yourself if you're focusing on a text from your girlfriend when you're trying to get something done for business. It's an impossibility. So when people are hearing you talk about this, I don't care if it's in the gym. I don't care if it's on the golf course. There's one way to get the most out of yourself. Shut everyone up. Shut everyone out. Focus on yourself, what you want, and go get it.
Shut it down, motherfucker, and go get it.
Shut it down, boy. Milk these titties.
Boy. That's a reference to I can't even explain it. All right, it's time for Butt Life.
Oh, Butt Life Q&A.
Let's go.
Yes. By the way, there's a great scene in the movie The Greatest Game Ever Played where Francis Ouimet wins the U.S. Open. The whole crowd just...
No one's ever heard of Francis Ouimet.
I have. So
He is.
Great story, John. Francis Ouimet won the U.S. Open as an amateur. That
Just
had
like
never
me.
been done. Just like you. All right, go,
So I just
Jeremy.
wanted to put that out there. But anyways, everybody keep on sending us questions at Biz and Biceps on Instagram and Twitter. If we use your question on the air, we'll send out a free t-shirt for you. All
It's
right.
a nice garment.
It is. Very nice. First question. What are some of the most overlooked steps when starting a business?
I think the most overlooked step is the actual financial structure of how the business will operate. I think people think they strike gold when they strike an idea. And if they even get to the point where that idea makes sense, they think, okay, it's time to roll. Like, I always use this example just because it's easy. Every dude talks about opening up a gym. And if you ask them why, they say because they love fucking fitness. And you're like, oh, that's cool. What's your strategy on fucking selling PT? What's your strategy
Never have one.
on guerrilla marketing to get, oh, well, man, I'll tell you what. I provide the best service and word of mouth. Bitch, word of mouth is waiting. It is waiting.
It is.
So I think that the most overlooked step is not having a step-by-step understanding of how financially your business will function. People get caught up on the passion, and the passion is mandatory. But for a business to work, the passion has to be backed up by a financial structure that can stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah, I've seen this. I think maybe not from a gym standpoint, but just in the fitness arena in general, I've just seen that that's where my probably main separation is understanding that most people, and I was similar, I just want to lift weights all the time. Well, it's just like the guy that owns the golf course. Guess what? He don't play that much golf.
I've met like the drug dealer. He can't smoke that much weed. He gotta sell it.
Exactly. So I think that passion is mandatory. I think a lot of people mess up how much money they actually need. I think that me and you've seen this, John. It's like you have a number in your head. It's usually what, times 2?
Or 3.
Or 3. And people are like, ooh, I mean, there's so many things that come up that you don't anticipate, and it's not on your fucking 5-year plan that's going to happen. And unless you can be agile and not shit yourself when that happens, I think that just understand and buckle up, because that's what's going to happen. We have a new venture starting out. I know there's going to be things that are going to come fucking curveball left field. I just already know it. I'm just waiting for it to happen. There's a few of them happening now. It's just what it is. But you'll never get there if you don't understand. That's almost mandatory too.
Absolutely.
And that's what shakes people. I think a lot of people think they're on this straight path. Dude, the detour of this other shit is what gets you ready.
The straight path doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. The detour is what gets you ready for when shit actually fucking rocks. All right, next.
Q2 Butt Life.
When do you stop giving people, i.e. family, friends, or business partners, a chance to right their wrongs, and when do you just move on?
To me, it's a pretty simple one. If you come to somebody who has done wrong to you, or you've interpreted it that way, right? Because sometimes we interpret things through our filter, right? Through our bias. But the way to handle it is say, listen, I felt you did this and it affected me like this. We need to sit down and talk about it and hash it out. If they are not willing to sit down, put it on the table, flush it out, then there's literally no way to get past it. It's impossible to get past it if you can't put it on the table and discuss it. So people who know they fucked up, a lot of times they don't have the backbone or the maturity to say, yeah, man, let's look each other in the eye from across the table and fucking get this done right, you know? But people who are willing to say, yeah, man, let's try, because this is a little fucked up right now. I don't want it fucked up. Let's get it right. Those people deserve a chance. And then you obviously you got to gauge on how the discussion goes, but someone who's unwilling to put it on the table is someone that needs to get out.
Yeah, I think same. I piggyback on what John said. Like, I'll give everybody a chance if they're just willing, even if they did me wrong and they're actually sorry. Like, I can see it on them. It's not like some fake ass shit. But at the end of the day, time is money, and I can give somebody a chance. And I usually will, one, especially if it's family. But if it's just look, I am probably one of the least drama-filled cats you'll ever meet. I just don't fuck with it. So if there's a bunch of drama coming from a certain area, I will just like literally take myself out of the situation completely. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time. I'm not going to spend a bunch of energy. Straight up, I just don't want that in my life. And so if there's a bunch of that shit going on, but I will really try to fix it at least once, maybe twice, if that relationship is valuable to me. Thankfully, I haven't really had a lot of these situations. I do have some family that are on the fringes that act kind of crazy from time to time. I just don't fuck with them. And I don't care if they think I'm better than them or some shit. It has nothing to do with that. I just ain't about to get drugged down on no bullshit. It's just not my style. It's never been my style. And at the end of the day, that shit only holds you back as a person. It's not helping you. So if they don't want to help themselves, I'm out.
Agreed. Q3 Butt Life.
What in your businesses has you most excited right now?
For me, I would say the unknown. Me and Cory were walking the other day, and we were talking. We're saying, okay, so we're about to embark on this new journey. And when the thought comes into, like, only speaking for myself, my head, man, I can't see it. I can see how we can execute, but in terms of what's going to happen, it is a definition of the unknown. Everything about it is unfamiliar. Everything about it is uncomfortable. Everything about it I have no connection to from a historical standpoint, but the confidence I have going in, the belief I have going in, without even really being able to exactly see it, that makes me feel alive. I'm about to go put my nuts on the table with a great team and a great partner, and I don't even know what that looks like. I am just so confident that what we're putting together is fucking bulletproof, that it's going to work. And it could take us to heights we could never imagine, or it could be average, or it could be shitty. But what I love about what I just said is we control that. See, for you guys listening, when you hear me say that, I really don't believe that. That's just a technical possibility. I believe it's going to be stunning. But that feeling and not being able to see it, feel it, know it, is personally what my life's journey has been about.
Yeah.
I live for that.
Yeah, so this is literally butts up right against one of my favorite quotes from Abraham Lincoln. To believe in the things you can see and touch is no belief at all, but to believe in the unseen is a triumph and a blessing. And that's exactly like what old Abe Lincoln was talking about.
Abe.
Yeah, so I mean that to me, we was walking out in front of the joint last night. I looked in it like 10 different times because my brain just kept running. And I just sit there, and if I'm kind of replaying it in my mind, I just shake my head like, oh yeah, like just itching, right? Maybe in a different way than John says, but the same way, in my own way. Like it's like game time shit, man. That's what you do. It's been 20 years. We've been all through these things as entrepreneurs, and you're gonna rely on all of it. Plus, get in some areas that we never been before, which helps us grow, right? It's real exciting. And that when people aren't excited about that part, you're kind of done. I mean, I think that's That's, when you're in that like hang up cruise mode. And if you're in that mode, that means you're going down. You're not going up. There's no sideways in this life, right, Johnny?
Oh, man.
And so I think that unseen, it's weird because that's the spot where most people fucking cringe.
That's where they run. That's where they run. That's where they hide. And that's why
Yeah.
they stop going after what they
Yeah,
what
the
their passion is.
unseen, and it's the same shit. I was actually in the bank, and I was getting a cashier's check, and I was talking to the bank ladies. I was like, I got this new thing going on. I was like, that unseen's where the juice is at. I mean, that's just where it is, bro. That's straight up. That's the only way to explain it.
Because
the unseen's where the juice is at.
It's like testing yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's like walking up to a dude who's 350 pounds, and like if you don't take him out, he's gonna take your family. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. To me, it's like being in the gym, taking new weights, doing new things in business, just being in new spots, man. That's what life's about. We got one life.
Totally.
And I love it. And I'm probably going to get that shit tatted on me, actually. It means so much to my life. I read that quote every time, and it literally just resonates to like the bottom.
Our best president.
Yeah,
Let's say
no
that.
doubt, right? All right, so time for the main event.
Ring the bell, please.
All right, Johnny. So great episode so far.
Yeah.
Mo, we miss you. We're gonna try. We should try this.
I'm in Florida. I'm 10 on the bench.
We should try this new setup with Mo when he comes back too. I think it'd be interesting.
I think that'd be cool.
That'd be real cool. Putting out daily fires, John. What's that kind of mean when you hear it? That's like a term a lot of business people utilize, and it also kind of showcases that it ain't just like rainbows and fucking unicorns every day.
No, I mean,
I know you like unicorns, John.
Hey,
Ah,
I'm not privy to.
you got no response.
I'm not privy. Okay? but here's what I'll say, right? Like, who wakes up every day and just fucking can't wait to do everything that they're required to do?
Yeah.
Who does that, right? Like, nobody. But you come to a point where there isn't another option, and you say, okay, well, this fire, which could be I had a really bad conversation with a friend last night and I'm waking up and that emotion is spilling through, or it could be, oh, I don't want to see this coworker today because she said some shit to me yesterday. It's just managing it and saying, well, am I going to let this get in the way of what I have to do? Guys, I don't want to make life sound simplistic, but everything always comes back to how am I going to shape this, whatever this may be, so I get the most value, impact, energy out of myself.
Yeah.
I mean, because we can look at other people. I could say, man, Cory he was fucking running his mouth this morning, man. I'm fucking pissed. What's the domino effect on my day?
Yeah.
What's the domino effect? If I choose to take on, let's say, negative energy that you theoretically put out, what's the domino effect on my day? What am I getting out of myself? Mm-hmm. I'm getting less out of myself because I'm granting you power.
Yeah.
So we all have these little fires every day, if you want to call them that, but understanding that giving them energy is like trying to light ourselves on fire, right? And then the more energy you give it, it's like, oh, shit lit. Right? Yeah. But the less energy you give it, they're not even fires.
Yeah, I think this comes back to my point of like the drama shit. Like you just pay it no mind. I think there's fires can be looked at two different things, right? There's problems within employees, the system, or something that changes. That could be looked at as a fire. All that is you're doing shit you don't want to do. You're having hard conversations you don't want to have. That comes with what the life we live, right? And that could be in your family dynamic too. That having hard conversations with family and friends that you need to nip things in the butt. That could also be a fire. I think yes, the more you feed some of this stuff, the bigger it becomes. If you get it in the smoldering stage and you nip it quick, then once again, it's all about keeping the momentum. Everybody,
dude.
Like momentum is the hardest thing to recreate. You fucking lose it and you recreate it. It's like, and you got to keep going. And these fires and these things that take you off this path, because they're going to, you have to minimize them at best, right, John? I mean, that at the end of the day, that's the key. And people give so many things power they don't need to, and give so much attention to a bunch of extra bullshit. It comes down to the fucking Tiger Woods golf shot. There's 100,000 motherfuckers and you don't see any of them. You see your objective. And the fucking fires, they're meaningless. You put them out, you move on.
Yeah, I mean, think about any aspect of life with anybody. When there is an issue that they don't swiftly deal with, the potential cancer and damage it can do if they push it off and they push it off and they push it off. This is what most people do because they don't want to deal with the hard shit.
Yeah.
And when you don't want to deal with the hard shit, what you're creating is you're creating monsters in the closet for your life. And those motherfuckers come out, and the longer they're in there, the bitch last year was 6 foot tall. This year it's 9 feet tall. If it's in there 3 more years, it's going to be 20 feet tall. And the truth is, you have to face it. You have to face it. So some people die with enormous regret because they never faced down their monster. And I believe the monsters we face are called our hard truths. That's what the monsters are hard truths that we go into denial about, right? So is this in the same ballpark as fires? I think it is, because fires are something that can put you on tilt, whether it be professionally or personally. And if I don't handle my business mentally with you and everyone I deal with on a daily basis, my interactions with that individual are going to be tainted. They're not going to be pure, and we're not going to do and get the most out of each other.
Yeah, it absolutely will limit your interaction. How could it not? You got a jolly green fucking green bean giant in your fucking closet.
We actually know someone who has a green
right?
giant.
That's why I referenced that,
Yes,
which is amazing.
Shout out to Homeboy.
Homeboy Productions. That's actually a real company.
It really is.
I love it.
A lot of good music.
I think that I remember, sometimes I come home from the office or we're traveling or doing whatever, and and you have days like this, I'm sure, John, where it feels like they're just one on top of the other, right? Yeah. They're not always like that. There might be one thing here or there, but you might go an entire 8-hour day or 2 10-hour days where it's like you just literally run from one fire to another, and you're playing fireman. That's what it feels like. Yeah. And understand that. Or it could be a week like that, and sometimes that's just what it is. It's not always.
Well, you could play fireman at night too.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. I mean, the Lil Wayne song, Fireman.
I don't know anything about that.
You could add that in real quick, Jeremy. That'd be a great drop.
Okay, there we go.
But I think that I guess the biggest thing is that I want to get across is understand that they're coming. They're coming, and they're going to come often.
It's a little too close to the Lil Wayne thing. When you
okay. They're on the way.
Okay.
better dialogue.
There we go.
The fires are on the way.
Big sweet potato.
And that you should get ready for it.
Absolutely.
And they're going to be all different sizes and shapes, and they're really like tests along the way mostly.
And they're daily, and that's what I just want people to get used to. They're daily. This thing we go through called life, which involves our work. It's hard. So how are we going to make it easier? We're going to make decisions to position our body and our minds in places where we can handle these things. So the expectation of things are going to go wrong today, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's a realistic thing. So when we title or think in our brain, oh shit, something went wrong, I didn't expect that. If you tell yourself it's bad, it's going to feel bad. If you tell yourself it's part of the process, it's part of the process. You just handle it. There's no emotion, and you keep on trucking.
How do you process it? Is it like that, John? And that's pretty much how I am now, too.
I've never thought to myself, any situation, oh, this is going to go exactly how it should. Never.
That's La La Land, bro.
Never think. I want everyone to think about all their situations, from their relationships to their jobs.
It never goes that way.
And think about how you thought about it at the beginning. And a lot of people, we're all, young, whatever. And then think about how it turned out. Was it what you thought it was?
Yeah.
And then when you ran into the adversity, how did it feel? If it felt like the sky was falling, then you're soft. And this episode is for you because
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you. .com. But what I would say is you just need to adapt that mindset that this shit happens every day. And that's life, whether I like it or not.
Doesn't matter.
Bro, the man upstairs, he don't care. Whatever you believe in,
Yeah.
that thing doesn't care either. The trees and the sun don't care. This shit's hard. So expect every day when you wake up for it to be hard, because then it starts getting kind of easy.
Yeah, because they don't take that same value in your brain.
Right.
Because you just expect
Like,
it.
what is here's hard.
Yeah.
Me getting a phone call that says your mother died.
Exactly.
That's hard. That's hard.
I think that changed when my dad passed away. That changed a lot of my daily perspective. That, that was like my worst day, and
Right.
that if I feel like I'm having a really shitty day, I pile it up against that, and I just literally go, "What the fuck's your problem, G?"
Right.
That's what I say to myself.
Yeah, you're being a pussy.
Exactly.
You're being an absolute bitch.
I mean, and everyone has those moments where they have to check themselves.
I do it every day. We talk about self-talk all the time. I call myself I wish someone could record my brain, because that would be a hit. I'm telling
Another
you,
YouTube special.
the shit. If there's a doctor listening, if you could record brain waves and it could come out in my voice, I think we have a hit on our hands.
I bet it's amazing.
Oh, I call
Because
myself.
the shit you actually say out loud's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm harder on myself than I am anybody.
Sure, of course.
You
expect more.
It's an expectation level, right?
Yeah.
So the amount of verbal abuse I give myself is legendary.
I'm sure
I was
is
giving it to myself like a half hour ago. Yeah. You just couldn't hear it.
So good. All right, I think it's a good way to wrap it up. Good
there we
work,
go.
John.
Yeah, good shit.
Hey, it's brought to you by HoneyBook.
Oh, HoneyBook. Yes. The starter kit for entrepreneurs, businessmen, and all people who are smart.
Ah, I like that.
You like that? You need an invoice. You need a PO. Where do you go, Corey?
You go to honeybook.com and use the code BICEPS, John, and that'll give you 50% off the first year. Over 75,000 photographers, designers, event professionals, entrepreneurs, personal trainers have utilized honeybook.com to make them look professional as all get out, John. That's what we need at HoneyBook.
At the beginning,
It makes you look so
need
much
help.
better.
You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? Fake it till you make it, baby.
Absolutely. All right. Maurice Claret on vacation.
I'm right here.
Johnny Bosco.
Yo.
Can the podcast be stopped? The podcast can't be stopped.